Welcome to our session today on active listening in social work practice. Every time I ask, what is one quality of a good social worker? Many people respond with the answer, good listening. What makes a good listener? Is there a difference between hearing and listening? And how can social workers become better listeners? At the end of the session, you will be able to compare and contrast hearing and active listening. Describe the benefits of active listening to social work practice. Identify the barriers to active listening. Value the contribution of active listening in the client-worker relationship. And apply active listening techniques in the client-worker interview. Before we start, can you tell me what is the difference between hearing and listening? What is active listening? What are the benefits of active listening? And do you know how to apply active listening techniques in a social work interview? You can pause the video now if you want a moment to come up with the answer. Hearing is not active listening, and listening is more than just hearing. When you hear a sound or noise, you are receiving oral stimuli. Hearing refers to one's ability to perceive sound by receiving vibrations through your ears. Listening goes beyond just registering that there is a sound in the environment. Cornier states that active listening combines talking and listening skills in a way that others feel understood and encouraged towards further self-expression. It involves receiving and interpreting stimuli and creating meaning from the sound. The goal of active listening is to understand the feelings and the views of the person who is communicating a message. Research on active listening shows that active listening is an integral part of the helping process. Bodie et al. Conducted a survey of undergraduate students to test their perceptions of the benefit of active listening in the helping relationship. The survey showed that undergraduate students felt that persons trained as active listeners demonstrated more emotional awareness and prompted a greater degree of emotional improvement than those who were not trained. And Wager investigated 115 participants' responses to active listening messages. The results showed that participants who received active listening felt more understood. Further, participants who received active listening responses were more satisfied with their conversation. There are several benefits to active listening in the social work process. For instance, active listening conveys to the client that the social worker is demonstrating an interest in understanding what the client has said. In other words, social workers who engage in active listening with their clients show that they want to comprehend fully and accurately the messages that are communicated. This means that the client feels a sense of being understood. Another benefit of active listening is that it shows the social worker is interested in the client's feelings and experiences. And this means that the clients feel a sense of warmth and genuineness. Active listening conveys empathy and sensitivity. And active listening helps the social worker to build a trusting professional relationship with the client. And thus, active listening can promote the ability of the social worker to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. By actively listening, social workers demonstrate that they are committed to building the therapeutic alliance. There are some steps involved in active listening. Step 1 involves inviting. This requires that the social worker position their bodies and make appropriate verbal and non-verbal cues, such as by offering appropriate eye contact, orienting the body in the direction of the speaker, and remaining quiet. So social workers should be very concerned about their facial expressions and modulate their speech and tone of voice in order to be inviting to the client. The second step requires listening. The social worker must attempt to hear, to observe, to encourage, and to remember the messages that the client would have been sharing. And the third step involves reflection. This step allows the speaker to actually hear their own thoughts and to focus on what they say and feel. Therefore, verbal feedback is very important at the reflecting stage. Sometimes as social workers, we restate in our own words what the speaker is trying to communicate. And by restating and reflecting this back to the client is able to clarify whether this is in fact what they are saying and what they intend to say. There are barriers to active listening. One of the barriers is hearing impairments. Another is the lack of eye contact with the speaker. An inappropriate posture. So if the social worker is slouched or leaning back or swinging on a chair or leaning away from the client, it may be a barrier to active listening. Distractions also pose a barrier to active listening. Behaviors such as fidgeting, looking at a watch, or yawning can be a distraction to the process. Inappropriate expressions and lack of head nods also act as deterrents to active listening, and so does distraction and noise. So now that we know a little bit more about active listening, here's a checklist for you to assess yourself as an active listener. Fill out the self-test on this slide. If you need more time, simply pause the video now and resume when you have completed the test. Does your body language invite and welcome the client to share their thoughts and experiences? Do you paraphrase or rephrase what has been said before you respond? Do you seek clarification or ask, "I'm not exactly sure what you mean"? Do you look at and make eye contact with others when they are talking to you? Do you make every effort to understand the questions from the questioner's point of view? Do you watch for body language and indicators that certain individuals want to participate but look frustrated because peers keep cutting them off? And are you present in the social work interview in body as well as mind? So to summarize what we've learned today, active listening lies at the heart of social work. Active listening means reflecting what is said by the clients and being engaged so that they know you understand them. Active listening establishes trust and helps to build the professional relationship. And there are 3 steps to active listening, which include inviting, listening, and reflecting. For more readings on active listening, you can look at any one of these references. We look forward to seeing you again for our next session, which will continue looking at active listening in the client-worker relationship. Thank you.